You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
You know something? I really like green tea. This is good. Normally I just
God
drink.
damn it, Scott.
What? No, we're not. I'm not talking during. No, you idiots talk during the girl. Like, you guys, like, sit there and yelp and stuff before it comes on and do all kinds. I do a proper bleed into the show. You see how nice that was pro right there. That was clean.
How dare you make me bleed my own blood?
But I'm digging the Arizona Zero green tea, ginseng tea. I normally have my water that I drink here. I forgot it, of course, and Chris was nice enough to provide refreshments for the evening.
He was.
I'm drinking some
And that
Henry's
is
hard
good
soda. But you know what
Tasty.
You know what we really should be drinking right now?
Oh, yeah, I know what we should be drinking right now.
Some fine mead from Cellarman's.
Yes.
We should.
Saw them. Chris and I saw those fine people this past Saturday because my illustrious band, 1,000 Yard Stare, played there. We had a great time, and those are some of the nicest people.
Shameless plug.
Total shameless plug for them and my band. But those guys were super cool to us all night. They treated us really good. And what a wonderful place for bands to play at. The stage is massive. The sound's good.
It's cool because, like, the room seems like it's like some old school, like, VFW hall or something like that. But they've got those awesome long tables set up. The sound was great. And the mead and the beer was phenomenal.
And that's what they say. They said that. I was talking to, I forgot his name. I'm an idiot, but we were chatting. He's like, we kind of like this, like the VFW hall type feel, like big open room type thing.
Yeah.
And he said exactly that. But yeah, really cool place. We're gonna push the hell out of this because look, Chris and I, and Trevor, we're all like really into good businesses and community and things like that,
and culture at the same time.
Yeah, total culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cellarman's really encompasses all that.
Well, the fact that it's a place that makes their own mead,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the artisanship there.
And it's pretty
is
cool.
just
Like, when you go use the
cool.
restroom, you can go in the back and basically you see where they make everything.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
The band's
Yeah.
we loaded. I mean,
Yeah.
I have
depending-
yet to go. You guys need to drag my fat ass over there.
We
They're
need to
super
take
cool
you
with
there.
that. All the drum sets, all the bands, like for all the bands that played that night, all of our drummers' drum sets were right back there. They let us put us back there, like next to the tanks and the barrels.
Oh,
and
that's
stuff.
cool.
They're very open about that. It isn't some closed off thing like you can't know anything about these guys. They're very cool about that. And yeah, when you walk to use the bathrooms, and they have a sign that says, "Okay, no further than here, please,"
Yeah.
because there is equipment. It's dangerous.
Well,
and
and like
code
they
and
like they
Well, you can
mentioned
look.
when they were here,
Yeah.
the whole thing is cleanliness, keeping that area clean.
Yeah, listening
So,
to them talk about
yeah.
that was hysterical.
Yeah. So
yeah.
make sure you check them out. If you're local, Detroit area, check out Cellarman's in Hazel
do
Park.
it, man. Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, go there and hang out. It's a lot of fun.
Also, check out one of our other sponsors, the Flint Institute of Arts. They've always got some really
Always.
rad
Yeah.
stuff going on. And, of course, projectorscreen.com.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
So what's happening this week, Chris?
Well, it's episode 91 of Real Crime.
Man, we are nearly there.
We-
Are we going to have like some
When we do episode 100, it's got to be, we got to do
We got to
something
do a
really
bash.
cool.
fucking Roman sex orgy on the
Yeah.
on the show?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're gonna be doing Caligula and
That's what I was gonna say.
and break out a little Federico Fellini
Yeah.
Invite
for
Malcolm McDowell.
Satyricon.
It'll
There
be
we go.
awesome.
Oh, there we go. We'll get Malcolm to come do the show.
Yeah, dude. We hang out with him all the time.
I'm
Why
sure
wouldn't we
Andrew would have 1,000 questions for Malcolm McDowell.
Yes. So, in news this week, kind of a good mix of news.
Interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, Fantasy Island is being rebooted again by Blumhouse.
Yeah.
So this might actually be a horror version of Fantasy Island, which Fantasy Island did have some horror elements
They did.
sci-fi, fantasy,
Yep.
all that. But yeah, Blumhouse is rebooting Fantasy Island.
It would be really easy to transition that into like a Twilight Zone or Tales from the Dark Side kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. In other news, Nicholas Winding Refn launched his Buy NWR streaming service this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's got only 4 movies available on there now, but it's completely free. And I
Yep.
imagine his catalog will be on there at some point also.
Wow.
You'd hope.
Yeah.
You'd
We would hope.
since it's his catalog.
But so he's got a good mix of genre stuff on there too. Some
He does.
exploitation, some horror, some drama, some fantasy stuff.
And it looks
So-
like his plans are pretty substantial for what he's wanting to do. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing some serious art house stuff there.
And the front page is total NWR. The coloration and everything on there, all bright fluorescents and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty sweet. Other news, Mark Marone is joining the Joker movie.
Might be.
Might be.
They're talking to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we
he's-
saw what
yeah.
happened with De Niro. De Niro was like, might be. And then 2 weeks later, he was signed. I think he's
I think
going
they're
to be.
throwing money at these guys. They have
think,
to be.
I think they're going, hey, we're kind of basing this off, the old Scorsese films. We're heavily influenced by that.
Mm-hmm.
To do something like that, you need an awesome cast like De Niro and him and Joaquin Phoenix.
If
Yeah.
they do this movie right, it could be phenomenal. But at the same time, I have so many doubts about this one.
It could be too much, too.
Yeah.
Other news. Arnold Schwarzenegger reported on site for Terminator 6 this week.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Him
on
and
the
Lyndall.
fence about this.
Lyndall Hamilton's back. Everybody's back for it. It's actually
They're retconning
James Cameron's
3 through 5.
vision
Do not
for it.
exist
yeah.
with this. This is a
Yeah.
direct sequel.
No, I'm interested.
This
yeah.
is
it's
a
a
direct
direct
sequel
sequel
to
to
Terminator 2.
This is how James Cameron wanted to finish the trilogy.
So they're actually going to hopefully make a quality Terminator film this time.
Well,
Keep
he's
ta- keep
executive
talking.
producing.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
With him executive producing.
It's not
I mean-
dirty yet. You're doing
And
some
Todd
dirty talk
Phillips
here.
has done some good stuff.
Oh yeah,
You know,
he's a really solid director,
Yeah.
and I hope he's willing to listen to James for the production.
yeah, I think it could work out.
Yeah.
It could.
Arnold's a little bit old for the role, but they might spin that into it somehow again. You know?
Wouldn't be hard.
Yeah. They can de-age. Look at Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh, they
2.
They did such a good job with
Yeah,
that. That was
yeah.
creepy.
So
Okay.
last bit of news is that Fox is developing a 24 prequel that's going to be the early days of Jack Bauer.
Come on.
They are
They
doing
are.
this.
And it's stupid.
Just give up on 24. Just give up on 24.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I gave up on 24 at episode 2, so,
We followed that show religiously every week. We had viewing parties every Monday night for years, so we were totally into it.
yeah.
The thriller
My issue
aspect
with
of
it
it.
was that it felt like it was fear-mongering from episode 1. I'm just like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Well, that's what
They
turned me
did get
off a
away
little
from that, though, quite a bit. They went into some more domestic terror type stuff for a while.
So it's still terrorists.
Yeah, it was still
Yeah.
terrorists.
Ooh, scary.
Ooh, the terror.
bit. No, the
I'm so scared. I'm so terrorized.
All right. So also want to mention our other sponsor is Recklist, REKLIST.com.
Oh, yeah.
Check them out. It's another new streaming site, not like Netflix at all. We've kind of talked about that
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
It's
like
also
the
a
Facebook
social.
of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. I actually checked it out last week. So make sure you check them out.
Yeah, I
also,
need to actually spend a little time there.
yeah.
And last bit I'm going to mention is our Patreon. Patreon.com/The Movie Sleuth. Help us out.
We don't have enough drugs.
Yes, we need more drugs for this show.
Yeah.
My
Hook us
lubes
up.
are running low, and these guys want me to be, interesting,
Yes.
and so
So
they
give him
need
money.
to drug me.
Give him money.
Hook us up.
Yeah.
All right, new releases this week.
Keep
we've
us
got
high.
We've got Christopher Robin, The
Oh.
Darkest Minds,
Mm-hmm.
The Spy Who Dumped Me, and 8th Grade.
Is it bad that there's like 2 movies there I'm genuinely excited for?
No, I think that's okay.
I think Christopher Robin looks fantastic.
Dana is seeing it tonight
I know she is,
So-
and I know we're going to get the review that befits it.
that we deserve.
Yeah. And The Spy Who Dumped Me looks hysterical.
It does.
I love Kate McKinnon.
Me too.
Like, if I was a woman, I would be chasing her everywhere. 'Cause, yeah, as it is, I'm
Yeah.
totally not her type.
All right.
All right.
Suggested viewings. I know what mine is.
Go ahead.
Mission Impossible Fallout.
You dick. That was mine.
Well, we can share it. It's the best of the series, easily.
Easily.
Hands down.
There was not a single frame wasted. It was perfectly done. I was just in shock
Yeah.
over it. I was expecting to be let down. I'm like 56-year-old Tom Cruise doing his own stunts.
Yeah.
He's a Scientologist. He can do anything.
Apparently,
Yeah.
because he did a skydiving shot in that movie
Really?
that is absolutely intense.
Really?
And the whole thing was done in one take, and they could only do it during magic hour. So they jump out of this plane, cameraman falling in front of him, and it's him doing the skydiving. And it's amazing.
The stunts he does in this movie are absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The dude doesn't look a day over 45, 46.
At
most. And what I like the most about Fallout was that it interconnected so many story points from the last 5 movies.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't F it up. It was... They really interconnected everything. His marriage, his divorce, and his new love interest, and of course the villain carrying over too, partially.
Partially.
So, yeah. It's
And Alec Baldwin, as
dude,
always.
it's so good.
He was so...
Yes.
He made the movie. Him and Simon Pegg.
Yes.
Like, without them in it, it would not have been as good as it was. And Henry Cavill... spectacular. Oh my God. I was not ready for him to be that good in it. And and then now I can't help but reflect back on people talking about him possibly being the new Bond.
Yeah,
and
he
I'm
could
like,
do it.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
What about you, Trevor?
Oh, you're a dick.
We can say that was a shared one.
Yeah, we're
Seriously.
gonna have to go shared because I am drawing an absolute blank.
I more or less spent my viewing this weekend preparing for tonight's topic. However, and I know this is kind of a rehash, but I did get my brand spanking beautiful new copy of Phantom Thread, which I sat down and watched again this weekend.
Yes.
Which, what a fucking phenomenal movie, man! What a great flick. I just I think we already talked about it, so I don't want to rehash it, but it was fun to watch.
Did you ever order your copy of Prince of Darkness?
I have it on my list of things to get done this week.
Okay.
I actually went there and looked at it. They have it. I'm going to order it. I'm picking that up. I'm going to definitely get that Blu-ray
Right on,
edition.
man.
I'm going to get the steel. They actually have a steel book.
Yeah, they do, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I'm going
gorgeous.
to probably end up getting that. But that's definitely something I'm going to be purchasing this week for sure. Yeah, we talked about that, and I was looking at it over the weekend. I'm like, okay, I just scatterbrained, the usual thing. I spent some time the last couple of days. For some reason, I got obsessed with Chernobyl, and I spent some time watching documentaries on Chernobyl, which
Did you
are
ever see
fascinating.
the Ghost Hunters when they went to Chernobyl?
No.
Oh, it was a trip. It
Well,
was
I'm
really
sure it was.
funny. It was really funny.
You know, I just for some reason fell into that rabbit hole and started watching all these documentaries on Chernobyl and learning about, you know, how the whole thing went down, and interesting stuff to watch.
It is.
But I did spend, as I said, the bulk of the little time I had this weekend preparing for tonight. Which are we ready for that?
Actually, you know what? I have my recommendation.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to do a callback
Fuck, man, I
to
had a great
Michelle.
segue going too, man.
You did. I'm going to do a callback to Michelle, and this one's for Josie and Mike and all the movie sleuth people. Miami Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. She absolutely right. Everybody that recommended it, thank you. That was wrong in every right way possible. It was
now I gotta watch
good.
it.
It is horribly cheesy. Horribly.
Really?
But the music is so goddamn catchy.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I didn't stop singing it for 3 days, and my wife started screaming at me. It was worth it. So, yeah.
Go back to your segue, though. I'm interested in
So
what it
as
was.
I was saying,
Before he was so rudely
I
interrupted.
spent the weekend. What time I had, which was great because oh my god, Sunday, because we played Saturday night. Sunday, I got up early, got all my errands done, and I started cooking about noon. And we had one bottle of wine in the fridge.
Was it an Ice Chianti?
No, but
No.
It'd been good. You know, I've seen that at Trader Joe's too. I die. They have Chianti at Trader Joe's, and I'm just like, every time I walk by, I'm like, I just can't help myself. But no, I started drinking wine in the afternoon, and I went all day. So you got to picture this. Amber comes home, you know, and it's before I sat down to start watching movies. But I guess she's like, the vision, she's like, this is ridiculous. Because I was sitting in my office in the dark, and there's an empty bottle of wine sitting there, and I got Lizzie Borden on 11 blaring and I was just doing paper, like office stuff. Yeah. Just paying bills and whatnot, but I was drunk. it was awesome. So, yeah. So we were preparing. I was preparing over the weekend, though, for our topic for tonight, which I did watch that night, which was, well, I'm calling this, Hannibal Lecter worship, basically. That's what I want to call the show. Yeah. Hannibal Lecter worship. So that probably will give you guys, the listener, an idea of what we wanted to cover tonight, and that is, I guess, the Hannibal Lecter films, the franchise. It's kind of a very loose franchise
because we're not really talking about the TV show at all.
No. These are just the movies. All right, so let's just dive in. I mean, I think it's obvious where we want to start at here.
Yes,
the movie, the film Manhunter.
Oh, absolutely. Strangely, my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah,
really, absolutely. Anything Michael Mann does intrigues the hell out of me.
Up until Black Hat.
Well, Black Hat was pretty terrible, but up until Black Hat.
Well, I came at this. I'm a huge Red Dragon fan, which I know we're going to get to that too, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I tried to. And I've watched Manhunter a handful of times, well, a bunch of times actually, and it's still hard not to compare the two.
Yeah,
it
is. It is,
and it's not because they're both phenomenal in their own with their own merits, right? Let's just start how the movie. Let's just get into how the movie starts, which I think is really compelling because it starts out with some really beautiful, stunning scenes. I think in Florida, at the Graham household.
William Peterson.
The Graham's home. If you notice, this is one thing I picked out, is even throughout the whole film, when they keep coming back to the home, it's always blue. It's this beautiful blue.
Yep.
Which obviously I think signifies the ocean. I think
safety.
Yeah, safety. Blue's comfortable. It's a soft color, right? Except for the fish tank. They went by the fish tank, and the fish tank was full color. It was just the color
brilliant, ridiculous color.
Yeah, really, really stands out as a camera kind of just come by the fish tank, right? It's the only time in the Graham household in Manhunter you see where you don't just have this overabundance of blue like we have in this freaking studio too, for God's sake. Yeah, it's not blue, but it's something like that.
Oh, yeah, blue.
So the movie opens up like that, right? And you guys just jump in wherever here because I'm just
I'm following you.
The way I did this, and mind you, I wrote the notes for Manhunter when I was half in the bag too.
Oh, right on. Drunk notes are the best.
It was great because I had to go back the next day and air them, and it was a complete mess. One of them, I think, as the movie goes on, Will Graham agrees to take this job. We know how the story goes, right? He goes into, I think it's the Leeds household. That's the first family that got killed.
Looking at the Leeds.
That first scene where he walks into the bedroom, the way they worked the blood, it was just shocking to me. Still to this day, every time I watch Manhunter, that first shot where he walks in the bedroom and that fucking blood everywhere, man.
Well, what's interesting is the dichotomy between the rest of the world of the movie and the crime scenes.
Yes.
The crime scenes are chaotic and uncomfortable and covered in blood.
Well, it's like hyper-realism.
It's
setting you up for
and the rest of the movie
heavenly scenery to shock.
Yeah.
And it's all but it's like the rest of the movie is in soft focus.
Yeah.
And then every time there's a crime scene,
sharp.
It's jarring.
Very hard and sharp.
Yeah. And for me what stood out for every time I watch the movie is how much more natural William Peterson feels in the role of Will Graham as opposed to Edward Norton. Edward Norton always had kind of the smarmy thing about him that I didn't like in it.
Okay.
Where he didn't feel like an FBI investigator. He's felt like a video store clerk that thinks he knows more than you.
William Peterson, I think, was more immersed. because those are some of the core, some of the parallels with Red Dragon and Manhunter is those shots where he's sitting there, where William Peterson, who's playing Will Graham, is sitting there reenacting in his mind, going, "You son of a bitch! You looked at him the whole time. You knew exactly, like in the tree."
They show you that aspect.
William Peterson's performance was way more dramatic. I mean, it was way more not over the top, but he was, yelling. "You son of a bitch, you watched him the whole time. You knew exactly what was going on." All that. He was doing that through the whole film.
Yeah, when he first finds the Red Dragon.
Yeah, where Ed Norton was more,
You son of a
bitch. You saw, he was very more like pointing
Edward
the finger,
Norton.
like, "I got you. I know what you're
He
doing."
was more Edward Norton.
Well, yeah, there you go. Thank you. William Peterson was way more, I'm not going to say he's more into the role, but he was way more dramatic.
He was to me.
Okay.
It feels like he loved the role, and Edward Norton was just hired.
Well, I think here lies the problem with Red Dragon. Like, Red Dragon felt like it was like tagged on to the end to just because Hannibal's so popular and he's iconic, and we need something else to do after Hannibal. So let's redo the Red Dragon Manhunter story.
Yeah.
I think when Manhunter came out, it was just a movie. It wasn't a Hannibal Lecter movie.
It wasn't a franchise.
No,
this was an 80s crime.
It was a story.
Movie.
It was just a story.
And I think that's
the Tom Harris adaptation, and it didn't even do very well.
No, it didn't.
Like, critically, it was pretty much dismissed.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because there are some great performances in that movie.
Well,
I think part of the problem why it didn't do so well, and I still think people get Manhunter and To Live and Let Die in L.A. confused.
Yeah,
they were marketed very similar.
Same
the promotional
star.
materials looked very similar, and I think there was confusion with that.
I'm sure there was. I'm sure.
What I found interesting with Manhunter, and I this is the cool when I was watching him, because I personally love Red Dragon.
I thought it was a great movie,
and I hold on, and I try to I try to hold them just separate hands. And look at them as two separate movies, even though they do share the same story. There's some really interesting correlation or interesting things I saw. The conversations with Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
For example.
Brian Cox.
Thank you. The pacing of those conversations in Manhunter are very quick. They're
very frantic.
They're fast. They're brisk.
Yeah.
They come right by you,
looking for details, and that's all.
Yeah, just they're fast. There's no music bit under them. Where in Red Dragon, there's this massive music bit under everything that really builds the intensity.
That Demi,
right?
Jonathan Demi, music drives the movie.
So that's the thing I noticed with those, and even the pacing with Dollarhide, and Freddie Lounge, like the scene with Dollarhide and Freddie Lounge.
Yeah, that could have been better.
In Manhunter, you mean?
Yeah.
Because the scene in Red Dragon, that's fucked.
Oh yeah,
that is completely nuts.
Dude. It really felt like the Freddie Lounge story arc in Manhunter.
It was not nearly as pronounced as it is in Red Dragon.
Was almost an afterthought.
Was he the reporter?
Yeah.
Okay. He was Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. In Red Dragon. In Manhunter, he was just this irritating reporter. However, you have the two scenes. Like, you have the scene from Manhunter where Freddie Lounge goes after Will Graham, and the story behind that is that when he was in the hospital, he stuck in there and took a bunch of pictures of him all in the hospital, all messed up. So Will Graham hates Freddie Lounge. He hates his guts.
Well,
so
here he showed him with his guts out. Almost literally.
Yeah, so he comes and starts harassing him, and in Manhunter, he takes and throws his ass over his shoulder and takes the window out of a car with the guy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's fucking nuts.
Oh yeah.
Where in Red Dragon, he just grabs him and he just puts him up against the wall and says, you're a piece of shit and a tattler's an ass wipe, and all that stuff, right? Yeah. Not nearly as, it's more subtle. Either of them are subtle.
Movie, all of Red Dragon was a little more subtle, except for when it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So now, again, I mean,
what do you think of Tom Noonan as Dollarhide?
So again, the pacing with him is the same thing. That's what I was saying. Like, in that scene, which is probably my favorite scene in both those films, is that showdown with Freddie Lounge and Francis Dollarhide, right?
Where you really see him become the Red Dragon for
Exactly.
the first time. Yeah.
Obviously, as I've said, the pacing is a lot more brisk. It's faster. You know, you owe me all. Like in Red Dragon, man, he comes down there and it just builds up. You owe me all, right? He is the Red Dragon. I mean, I was convinced in Red Dragon.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I wasn't convinced in Manhunter. And again, I'm not saying one film is better than the other. I want that very clear right now. They're both fantastic movies. They're just different.
Very.
And you know, dare I say, maybe Manhunter is a bit more realistic because it's very fantastical.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very fantastical in Red Dragon.
Well, and again, I think Manhunter is like very symptomatic of 80s
I was going to say this film
police
was
movies, you know, where the cop is kind of on the outs and he's kind of down and dirty, and you know what I'm saying. It kind of follows a lot of those
dirty cop movies,
standard tropes that we got from the 80s movies, you know.
Yeah.
I noted that down here too. I did say that. I'm like, this movie, I don't really think it's dated, but it was a product of its time.
Oh, yeah. That's what's interesting is that it feels like the 80s.
Yeah.
But it feels like it could have been made now about the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, where like you know what they're saying. You know the setting.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was, there's just an artistry to that movie that I thought was astounding. And I'm a massive Tom Noonan fan. And so him as Dollarhide is still how I picture Dollarhide.
Well,
his version of Dollarhide is
he's a freak.
He's more freaky.
Dollarhide in Manhunter
and I'm
is a
not
freak.
sure. Like, he's not as physically menacing as Ray Fiennes is in Red Dragon, but you're more fearful of the mentality,
the rage
behind the character, and the rage, and how he's presented on screen. And like we've always said about horror movies, you know, what lies behind the mask is scarier than what you actually show us. And I think that version of Dollarhide is a little more scary because you don't know too much about him.
Well, and that version of the version of Dollarhide in Manhunter, let's just talk about the house.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sorry, I'm trying not to really, but I am comparing a bit.
You got to.
I'm
sorry, you kind of have to compare.
Yeah.
We have two points of reference.
We have the house in Manhunter, which is like this swanky house on the water with massive pictures of space all over the place. I don't quite get what the meaning of all that was, but it was a very swanky kind of bachelor
He didn't
pad.
feel like he was human.
Okay.
He's looking at Earth from the outside.
Okay. Yeah, right. But it was very swanky. It was a very bachelor pad-ass type place, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't see who lived there and you walked in there, you'd be like, man, there must be just like
this
parties.
Must be a NASA engineer that parties like a
fiend. Or just a party, just a place you party. This is a place on the water. It's you know some swanky dude lives here, you know. And then you see,
which was totally against the book. So that's
okay.
a little annoying. Yeah.
So Dollarhide though, in Manhunter, he is a freak.
Oh yeah,
he's an outsider.
Yeah. He's shunned and should be shunned.
Yeah. Physically menacing, a massive, huge guy. We see that in all of its glory at the end, where just all hell breaks loose. He just kicks through there was a door in the wall or something. There, that big poster of the thing. He just kicks through it with a shotgun. Now he's like freaking Rambo running around shooting cops and shit.
Well, I mean,
what's going on, man?
Tom Noonan. I mean, most people from our generation know him as Frankenstein from Monster Squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, the dude is a big dude. He's not buff, you know?
Yeah, just a big guy.
I want to step back to one thing. I don't mean to derail us, but we were talking about the opening scene in the Leeds house.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody picked up on this, but Will Graham's walking around there doing his, talking into the mic, the recorder and taking notes and whatnot. And the phone rings. And then you hear the answering machine.
Yes.
And then whoever called hung up. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I noted down. I'm like, who the fuck called? Who the hell called? Was it Dollarhide? He had their phone number, too. He had to have had their phone number.
Well, yeah, he had the tape.
Yeah. Right? So I'm wondering, if it was just something that was thrown in there, that man threw in there just
Probably,
to
knowing him.
yeah, just to
He likes the subtle little.
Man's very
mastermind.
textured in all of his
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
There's little details like that.
Yeah, I
Blowout.
picked that up and I was
Blowout
like,
was one of those where
Yeah.
he just filled it with that.
I'm wondering if that that's the Red Dragon calling.
Probably.
I thought that was just one of them little things that was thrown in there. I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But
I actually forgot about that. But you say it now, I'm like, fuck.
yeah, the little
right.
phone call, and he heard, he notices it.
Yeah.
Graham turns his head like, who the hell's calling?
And looks at the answering machine.
Yeah, who's calling? What the hell's going on here? And the phone hangs up. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So Manhunter. You can't fuck with it, dude. You can't.
Yeah.
Fuck with it.
No, it's a great
fantastic-
movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
And it's got that Michael that not Michael.
there's not a lot of score
Michael
to the
Mann.
movie.
Yeah.
That's
No,
why
it's a very subtle music.
Yeah, there's not a lot of music in the film. It ends with oh man, you know what? And I should have wrote it down. The ending, during the credits, the song, really really great tune by
I can't remember.
Red 7, it's the name of the band. Great tune.
I can't remember right now.
I actually went and listened to that. Like I grabbed up YouTube and I was like, "That's a jam, dude." Very Miami Vice kind of ending, I think. Just kind of on, looking out.
Yeah.
I win, you lose, type of thing.
Right.
So okay,
How shocking! Michael Mann had a Miami Vice ending.
yeah, there you. Thank you.
Wow.
So, I guess we've already kind of talked about Red. I mean, we might as well just stomp this fire out too.
Yeah, Red Dragon.
So Red Dragon, we've kind of went back and forth already on this. This movie for me, my friend Scott had a copy of this movie, and I used to always borrow it off of him for some reason. I kept it for like weeks on end, and for some reason there was just I'll latch on to a movie like I said I've done that with Annihilation.
Yeah.
I watch it. I'll grab a movie.
Yeah.
I'll find one that I really
You
is
binge
compelling,
it.
and I'll just binge the shit out of it and watch it over and over again, and just try to pick up on all the cool stuff. Right. I did this with Red Dragon.
There's a lot to get. There's a lot of info to
Oh yeah,
gather.
to the point where my friend it was right around my 30th birthday, and my
just gave
friend
it to you?
he bought me a copy. He's like, here, you can stop borrowing mine. Here's your copy. Emily Watson as Reba.
Oh, she is phenomenal in this
Oh,
movie.
She was so good.
She's
So believable.
Yeah.
so beautiful. She having to play a blind person. I think that's a lot easier said than done,
Most of the time.
and she
She
really
did
made
it.
it work.
Yeah.
She really made it work.
I would say when it works, it's
one thing I
spectacular.
hate to do this again too, but back in the Manhunter, I do want to point out Dennis Farina was in Manhunter also.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
That's a real bummer on that too. He was fantastic in Manhunter. But okay, back to Red Dragon. Okay, so we I love the beginning of Red Dragon because we do get to we're taking this in a kind of a different sequence. This obviously came out after The Silence of the Lambs
And after Hannibal.
and after Hannibal. And
So
we
the
do
lead
hear
up for the movie is honestly, when do we get to see Hannibal? Like that's what everybody was
In Red
waiting
Dragon?
for. In Red Dragon.
well, yeah, because at that point, I mean, as far as like in Hollywood, yeah, everybody wanted, and it's funny because I
Well,
watched
that and the viewer.
I watched
the viewer,
I watched a
I think.
making of Red Dragon, some documentary I watched years ago, and they showed people when they were screening the film, like with all the high ups, and that's hello Clarice, or no, I'm sorry, but no, that was Hannibal. Never mind, we'll talk about that
Hello,
later.
Will.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I totally flipped over on that.
That was- again,
no, when he first goes into Hannibal's office.
No, I'm talking about Hannibal the movie. I misfired on that, but no. What I was saying originally was the movie starts out in the orchestra. Mm-hmm. We hear about this story in Silence of the Lambs,
right.
about the flute player,
Yep. That he served dinner.
and then he served
his
dinner, right? And
And
there's
we get
just
to see it.
those beautiful, and this is the beauty, dare I say, of Hannibal Lecter. Articulate. He even says he's quoting Horace, and he says, "Here I am, fat and sleek."
Yep.
And I love that. I love that.
I love
idea.
that line. I love the concept of only eating free range rude.
Yeah.
That line has stuck with me ever since I first heard it.
You have this beautiful scene of these people sitting there, just the top of the top, gorging themselves. a true hog of epicurity. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this whole beautiful thing. It's so cool, man. Go ahead.
I think the one cool thing about Red Dragon is that the way it's filmed, it really matches up well with the other two, with Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal.
Oh, yeah, it fits right in.
It has that same kind of texture to it.
Yeah.
Lighting is similar, music's similar. Obviously, the de-aging was not done as well back then as it would be now.
It wasn't exactly easy to do.
Yeah.
But he looked good.
Yeah, he looked
I think
good.
Anthony Hopkins looked good.
But yeah, I do remember going to see this one at the theater opening day, and I wanted to see Hannibal, but it does. It feels like a tag end. It feels like, well, we already made this movie once, and now he's really popular, and Hannibal did really well at
And
the
we
movie.
really want-
It's obvious.
Anthony
It was
Hopkins.
opportunism. It was total opportunism.
Yeah.
All right.
But they handled it well.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed Norton. We can talk about Ed Norton. I thought he was a hair awkward in the role. I love Ed Norton. I love everything I've seen him do.
I have a hard
love it.
time believing Ed Norton as a hard-ass cop. That's
Yeah.
kind of, I think, the problem with him.
Well, he wasn't, though.
And the fact that,
But he was
that,
supposed to be before.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
when he caught Hannibal,
Yeah.
that's who he was. He was the hot shot cop.
Yeah.
But
know.
if you look
And he
at that,
still felt weird.
but if you look at that, the way that scene plays out, though, he gets stabbed.
A lot.
He gets, and then he gets lucky, and then he gets lucky,
Very.
right?
A lot.
And then he shoots him.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. So he really wasn't a hard ass in that scene. And really, okay, just to jump to the end of the film when he's confronted by Dollarhide now, right?
Oh,
He outsmarts him. There's no brute force strength
no,
involved.
right.
He's all psychology.
He outsmarts him.
Yeah.
Right?
You disgusting, dirty little man. How could you do that? Do you want me to cut it off?
Now, you little faggot, you pissed your pants. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ralph
That scene is
Fiennes.
just
Ralph Fiennes
brutal.
is my absolute favorite in this film, playing Dollarhide.
Well, this was an unexpected role for him
Yeah.
at this
At
point.
the time.
He didn't really do, and he never really
He was the
has
English
been
patient.
Yeah, right. He
know,
didn't
like-
do brooding evil villains,
Yeah.
No, he
and
did
for him
nice
to come
guys.
out with that physicality of being like literally terrorizing and all brawn, it was different, and that was shocking at the time to
Yeah.
see
It
him
I
come out
remember
and
when
do
it came
something
out,
like that.
But there's such
everybody
a-
in the theater, we were
there's
all
such
like,
a cool-
holy shit.
And we see this in Manhunter with Tom Noonan. We see this in Red Dragon. We have a serial killer. And, one of the things at the end, I love when we hear Will Graham say it at the end of Red Dragon. He's like, this man was not born a monster. He was made a monster through years of abuse. This was a man, and you see this through the film, and this is what how Red Dragon was made and how they portrayed the story, was a man who was doing nothing but trying to escape this monkey on his back. Literally,
Yeah.
that's what they say. He was doing nothing in the film but trying to find a way to escape it. But and unfortunately, he just keeps succumbing to it, though. Right?
It was stronger than him.
It was stronger than him. He does some pretty extreme things to try to break this curse because now he's in love. He's in love with Reba. He finds somebody that he trusts, or he tries to trust. He loves, he's attracted to, and
who loves him.
And who loves him too.
Yeah.
And he wants to be rid of this whole curse that he's under, I guess you'd call it, right?
Be rid of the flesh.
Yeah, just that whole idea, and some of those scenes are just insane. Running around the house, that whole sequence of him running around the house naked with this fucking massive tattoo on his back.
That tattoo is badass.
Oh, it's wicked.
I want that tattoo.
When that's revealed,
I don't know if I'd go that far. Like, the William Goldman art is gorgeous, but
Yeah,
not William Goldman. You know who I mean.
Yeah.
when that's revealed with Freddie Lounds, Philip Seymour Hoffman in Red Dragon, that just when the robe came off, and there was something very like sexual about that whole thing too. And
incredible.
I didn't get that in Manhunter,
absolutely.
but in Red Dragon, you know, like with the whole robe and you're barely, you know, there's just a lot of very suggestive shots.
Well,
there
what they're doing though too is
and Freddie Lounge is in nothing but his underwear too.
They're presenting some of that sexuality from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Because
And
Buffalo Bill
Yeah.
was kind of trying to sensualize also.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the things I love about this movie and dislike about this movie all at the same time was the humanization of Dollarhide. I think it's wonderful on one hand.
Yeah.
Like, I think it makes him a more interesting character.
Well, you identify with him a little bit more, I think.
I also think it made him a lot less intimidating and scary.
Yeah.
It made him more pathetic.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And so that kind of, like, I want my serial killer to be a serial killer. I don't want my serial killer to be
Human.
a namby-pamby
Yeah.
kind of dumbass.
Well, I found myself laughing a bit. Like especially in the Freddie Lounge scene, where, and I've always kind of snickered at this a little bit because you know, Lounge is faced with he's going to die, right? And Dollarhide is questioning him. He's obviously pissed, right? And he's like, "You know, you're going to report right now, right?" Oh yeah, for sure. About me? Yeah, about my work. And I'm like, what fucking work, you freaking crazy bastard?
Right.
You know, it's all I'm kind of giggling, but it's a crazy person.
Yeah,
It's somebody who's
yeah.
insane. They think
It
they're
is.
doing the right thing. So I've kind of, you know, but yeah, along with what you're saying though, this patheticness, like, man, you are fucking insane. You really think you have this noble thing you're
And,
doing.
like, he really needed help. Like,
Yeah.
that was what I left the movie thinking. Like, man, if that guy got help, he could have been a great member of society.
Maybe.
Yeah, he obviously worked. he worked. He did things.
Maybe.
He was not a dumb person.
No, he was smart.
He was a smart person. He was a productive person. He had a good job. But then go ahead.
a megalomaniac.
He was. What was
Seriously.
interesting for me, but like as a contrast between the two movies, like I prefer Will Graham and Tom Noonan from Manhunter.
Yeah.
But I prefer Keitel and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh yeah.
As those two
Oh,
characters.
you're talking about two icons right there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And what's her name? Emily
Watson.
Watson.
Yeah. Oh, it's Reba.
As Reba. Like those three characters I think are much better in Red Dragon.
I think they're just better actors.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean when you get Oscar.
Because who played her in Manhunter? It was Joan.
I forgot.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, she was in everything in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
The scene. Oh man, I'm in trouble.
You might be.
The scene.
Chris, get the paddle.
I'm gonna.
Well, I want to talk about Dollarhide's house in Red Dragon too, but we'll talk about that in a second. The scene where they're sitting on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we got that in Manhunter, and we get it in Red Dragon.
In Manhunter, it felt mechanical and weird.
Yeah, but not in Red Dragon.
In Red Dragon.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. There was something...
Wait, you are talking about the photo, her looking at the pictures and stuff, right?
No, I'm talking about... Who looking at what pictures? What are you talking about?
Or not her... What was she doing?
I'm talking about when Dollarhide sit on the couch and he puts the video on of his next victims.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like guzzling down beer.
Like, what are we watching?
What are we watching? And he's like, it's just something for work. Oh, like a corporate thing. And she's like getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
And he's getting like more and more. Because when she kisses him that night too, like he's fucking shivering.
Yeah.
Like he don't know what to do.
Yeah.
He's never had this before in his life. He don't know how to deal with this.
He's scared
to death.
And little girls are evil.
Yeah, and he literally turns into a child, right? And
Well, he was a child for most of that movie.
he was. So, but this whole scene plays out where then she starts getting, and then
that was creepy.
Kind of grabs his stuff.
Yeah.
And now this whole thing's playing
Junk
out.
grabbing happening.
Yeah, and he's watching this movie like of this woman that he's gonna kill, and that just fucking really. It was really unique. It was really trippy, and it was
He
really
was doing
disturbing.
his homework.
Yeah, it was really
tension.
trippy.
It's just pure intensity and tension.
Yeah.
for the entire scene.
And one other person in Red Dragon that I liked more was Frank Whaley as the coworker.
Oh yeah, he was way more kind of like more
More
irritating.
slimy.
Yeah.
More slimy,
God,
more
what a
irritating.
creep.
But
He's
he was
always
cool
good,
though.
too.
He was
He
also
is.
cool. Like
He was.
he was trying. I think obviously
He was trying to worm his way into her pants. But
Yeah.
he was trying to do it by being.
But he,
Supportive.
I think he was like, before he gets his head blown off. I think he genuinely was like being nice, like
I think so.
It's enlightened self-interest. He wants nothing more. He wants to get it on with her too.
Yeah.
But I think he's trying to be nice.
Yeah.
He's trying to be a supportive person. I think it's just kind of a weird line he was running on.
Yeah.
But Dollarhide's house.
I was gonna say let's go to Dollarhide's house.
Oh man, totally
The
different
old
environment.
hospital.
Let's go to his house right now.
No.
All right, I'll drive.
Totally different scene. Totally different environment, though. Totally different idea.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is literally like it's the cave of a hermit. First off, who's not a hermit, who goes to work every day. And I don't think people. And that's the thing. Like you get this through the film, where Reba's like, all the ladies at work want to know about this. He's very mysterious.
Yeah.
Are you as strong as all the ladies at work want to know if you're as strong as you look?
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yep.
This guy is a very mysterious person, and no one's ever been to his house before besides Reba.
Yeah, and she's blind.
She's blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that
And she's a whore.
one of the things that I thought was interesting about the house is that it felt like a time capsule.
Yeah, totally.
That
Oh, it is.
And they
Yeah.
talk about that too. The
I
wheelchair.
mean, the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they did such a great job of, and this sounds weird, of making that wheelchair fit in. Where him having that wheelchair doesn't feel weird. Him having that wheelchair in Manhunter,
Yeah.
or his wheelchair,
It didn't
that he
make
uses,
sense.
Wasn't logical.
No, it didn't. Make a whole
I
lot
mean,
of
they
sense.
make sure that that mom ran a hospital
Yeah,
or a old folks home.
yeah.
I mean, Chris is so bored he's playing with the mouse.
What's wrong with you, Chris?
I'm just listening to you guys.
The wheelchair
Interject.
Scene, well, we got to move on to silence here in a second.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wheelchair.
we gotta
the
move
wheelchair scene, however, in Red Dragon is far better, I think, than the one. And that's one thing I think.
Definitely.
The way that thing comes down and then just knocks over. Oh God, it's horrible.
Oh yeah, and the
horrible.
wheel's still spinning.
It's horrible to look at. It's insane, and the sound you hear too, like just
Yeah.
that. What the hell's that?
Yeah.
So Red Dragon's
So
the shit.
off-putting.
I love that movie. I can watch it over and over again. It's such a cool flick.
Yeah.
It has its drawbacks, but I think both those films are independently. They're both fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I think we should go to the lesser known of all the movies.
Which one?
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that little movie.
That little teeny tiny movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this movie literally made Jodie Foster. She was already a big star,
It
but
put her in the stratosphere.
This put her in the stratosphere.
This is when she goes, I want my own production company.
Yeah, and this was her turning into a director
Yep.
and doing all kinds of
And
creative projects
and
herself.
it was the glorious return of Anthony Hopkins
Yes.
Yeah.
from his.
This movie was like a phenomenon when it came out
Oh, I remember it coming out. I
because
remember seeing it in theaters.
people were. This was a massive, massive hit.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was huge on home video,
Oh,
and this, the legacy of this movie carried on for years and years and years until they decided to make Hannibal. Because there's a long.
There's like 7 years in there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
usually if they're going to make a sequel, it's like, oh, look, we got to do this.
We got to do it now.
Here's
This
the thing,
one,
yeah.
they kind of waited around for.
Let's cash in on this.
Here's the thing with Silence of the Lambs. I don't remember a film at that time in my life that was more shocking.
Oh, it was so upsetting.
There was so many things that happened in this movie, and I've said this before several times on this show over our illustrious career, where I
91
remember
episodes.
seeing Silence of the Lambs in the theater, and I remember screaming my head off at a couple scenes. We all did. We all
Yeah.
freaked out, man.
Oh, I didn't.
We totally freaked out. Oh no, we freaked out. We totally just.
I have never screamed in a movie.
Oh, I freaked out. We were
I've
like,
never
no,
screamed,
no.
but the end scene in the house when it's dark.
Oh, I held my
Oh, that's-
breath for
dude,
as long as I
fucking
could hold
that
my breath.
again, I hate to keep using the term, but that is an iconic scene.
Absolutely.
That
yeah.
rewrote the
Because
book.
no one
on
saw
how-
that. Night vision was kind of a new thing.
That
Yeah.
rewrote the book on how you do scenes in the dark and create tension while showing your character kind of wandering around through nothingness.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This whole movie, just a setup. Her running.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're waiting. You're waiting for something to happen. Even when I watch that movie now. I'm like, what's going to happen? You know?
Yeah. It's like you know what's going to happen, but it leaves your mind as soon as it starts.
Yeah.
We see Anthony Hopkins in this film, and it still blows my mind. Like, you know, you hear, because you get this buildup before she can, you know, goes to meet Hannibal Lecter. So you hear about all this insane, you know, this and that.
So you
did this.
expect him to be a wall-crawling maniac. And then you get the stillest human being in the history of cinema.
But and the first thing he says to her, "Good morning."
Yeah.
He just the nuance
Good
that
morning.
Anthony Hopkins used on that, just good morning, like a very friendly, soft, subtle.
ID, please.
Yeah.
Closer.
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 There you go. Right. So, but he's this gentle, kind, very, very polite person, which is one of it's the underbelly
of what you expect.
Yeah, underbelly of what the character of Hannibal Lecter is politeness. That's what he's very big into. Mm-hmm. They said that it was said in Hannibal, you know, Hannibal preferred to eat the rude.
Yeah, the free range rude.
Yep, the rude. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, what is there not to say about this movie? It's fucking amazing. I mean, it's tough to even nail down.
Every single aspect of the movie was perfect. Like, there is nothing in it that I can, like, if somebody wanted to remake it, this is one of those movies where I'd be like, no,
you
don't go near it.
You're
never going to do better.
I really, like, when I first saw this movie, like, I thought, oh, this movie is going to be about him. But it's really not about him.
No.
Oh,
Hannibal is a
side
background character. There's like this duality to this movie of Clarice is coming to her own as an agent, and she's getting all her shit from the psychotic madman that eats human beings behind a wall of glass. But he's not even really the bad guy.
No.
He's
actually almost a good guy.
He's almost a good guy.
Almost.
You're talking about Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. He's not the main character. You know, really, it's Clarice, but Buffalo Bill is
every
the central
great line
story.
in this movie is his.
Yes.
Everyone. Tell me, do your nipples hurt? Like, oh my God, really?
I mean, yeah, heavy, man.
Oh,
well, just a detail, you know. And the thing that I love about Hannibal Lecter, and you see this in Silence of the Lambs, you see this in Hannibal also. And it's one thing I've noticed with him is that he's this insanely precise, articulate person, but then he'll throw in little goofy lines here. For example, with the senator, you know, he just fucking lays some shit on her, pisses everybody off, freaks them all out. At the very end, you know, he gives her all the information she wants at the very last second, and then now we're all skitsed out like, oh my God, what horrible thing is he going to say to her now to scar her for life? And at the very end, he's like, oh, Senator, one more thing. And we're like, oh God, no more. And she's, love your suit.
Love the suit.
I'm like, dude. He would throw in these.
You have that voice down.
Thank you.
He would throw in these great
That's
little.
nothing. You should hear. Wait till you hear my Buffalo Bill.
Sweet.
Oh God. So.
Oh yeah. Years of practice.
Now, okay, let's talk about Buffalo Bill. Ted Levine, who played that character.
He is such a fabulous actor.
Oh, dude.
He's such a great actor.
He's such a great
really
actor.
amazing.
I don't think this movie did him any favors, though.
No, it typecast him.
It typecast the shit out of him
for about 20 years.
It typecast the hell out of him.
Now you know that he actually has a cleft lip and palate.
And even he was an American Gangster.
He was.
And
I Monk.
saw. And and I just make it stick.
The Hills Have Eyes remake.
Yeah.
Hills Have Eyes. He was great in Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
Everybody forgets he's in there.
I can't think of another. I also can't think of a song in a movie.
Goodbye, horses.
That when you hear it, it just belongs to that.
Oh
yeah.
It
belongs to it.
And ever since that movie,
yeah,
I cannot hear that song.
Yeah.
Like every time it does, all that goes to my head is, "Would you fuck me? I fuck you
hard.
hard.
It just sets the
I'm a
scene.
beautiful butterfly.
The dancing, we know everything that.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket.
And we put that song in at work as a joke, like on our lap.
Oh,
We'll
God.
just put it on out loud, and then the game used to be back in the day is if we put the song on, somebody had to get up and do the dance. You didn't do the full dance, but we have to.
Did they have to tuck too?
Yeah, I was saying no, we couldn't do that.
That's too bad.
Jobs, but
Nobody did that better than Jason Mewes.
Yes.
oh my God. I guess the joke about that with him was he was doing it on set as a goof, and I
Well,
guess
he kept
Kevin
on doing
Smith,
the Buffalo Bill voice
yeah.
through the whole movie.
And I guess Kevin Smith said,
Yeah.
if you keep that up, I'm gonna write it into the script, and he did, or something
And
like
he's
that.
like, and Jay Mewes was stuck doing it. Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah.
My God, he did it.
Now, side note, and this is you'll actually find this very interesting, and it's a little off, but it is directly correlating to Silence of the Lambs. The voice of Chris Griffin is based off of Buffalo Bill's voice.
I think I heard that before, actually, somewhere.
That Seth Green and his buddies
Really?
would constantly drive around L.A., and every time that they would get hungry, they'd stop at a burger joint, and he would order everybody's food in the Buffalo Bill voice.
God.
And
Put the
so,
burger in the basket.
yeah, put the order in the basket. And so he's doing it everywhere, and gets this thing, and he looked at the character, and everybody else saw Surfer Dude, and he saw Buffalo Bill, and decided to do Teenage Buffalo Bill.
There's another callback to Buffalo Bill in Scary Movie 2 also. Hey,
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
what do you think, tucked or untucked? Oh! Great
Yeah.
callback.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jamie Gum, Buffalo Bill.
Jame.
Or is it Jame Gum?
It's Jame Gum.
Jame?
Jame.
Yeah, Jame Gum. Okay. I misspelled it because I was drunk probably when I
Yeah.
wrote these notes too.
Well, that and Jamie is one of his aliases.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're right. So I wasn't wrong.
How original.
Yeah, there's so many tense scenes in this movie. May I use your telephone?
Oh.
The giggling. You can use my phone.
Yeah, you can use my
You can
phone.
use my phone. I forget the girl's
I
name.
drive my wife crazy with that.
I forget the
voice,
young
by
girl's
way.
name. The one was in the pit.
We should all come up with movie voices we can do and do an entire podcast that way.
Well, I think I'd drive people crazy if I sat here talking like this for an entire night.
The girl in the pit. I always forget her name.
The senator whatever's daughter.
So, yeah. There's some comedy in
Yeah,
that. When Starling comes in there and I'm here, I'm gonna help you. Get me the fuck out of here, you fucking bitch, get me out of here. I'm gonna go nuts. I mean, there is a little bit. I mean, I kind of giggled a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's a horrible scene.
And when she has Precious,
Oh,
I'm
my
gonna kill your
God.
fucking dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill your fucking dog. Come on, Precious.
Don't
come here,
don't you
little
hurt my
shit.
dog.
Come
Don't
here,
you hurt my dog.
Don't you hurt my dog. I mean, there's one thing after another you can quote off this movie.
Oh, it's endless.
And just seeing there's a couple of shots where you see the actual skin suit.
Mm-hmm.
And Starling's walking around the lair. I'm like, oh, dude, this is fucking terrible, man. It took me a couple watches. The dancing scene.
He's wearing it.
He's wearing
Yeah.
the headpiece.
He's wearing the scalp.
Yeah, I didn't realize that
Yeah.
after a couple, and I finally, I'm
Then
like,
you see,
oh my
then you
God.
see the little edges
Yeah.
around his forehead
Yeah,
and
man.
temple.
Yeah. They show him sewing. Oh my
Ugh.
God, it's all fucked. That movie's just, ugh.
You know what scene I think told you that it was going to be different than anything you had seen, especially for when it came out, was the autopsy scene.
Oh God.
That was the first time that they really did realism with something like that.
Yeah.
That I remember from a movie. Like they did autopsies, but everybody looked normal.
Right, right.
Like nobody looked like they'd been in a river for 2 weeks
Yeah.
or 2 months. And so the minute I saw that, I was like, oh,
Well,
they're doing this right. Okay.
When
Because
they-
I read the Thomas Harris books
Yeah,
when I was like 10.
yeah.
No wonder you're so fucked up.
Yeah.
This is exactly
When
why
they
I'm
pulled the
fucked up.
tarp off of her,
Yep.
there's and I always forget the actor who did that. They unzipped
Oh,
the body
yeah.
bag and he just goes, whoa. and like a magic
Yeah,
trick.
it's Bob the Goon.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and so many. I mean, that guy is such
been in
a
a million
great
movies.
character actor.
Yeah, he ripped off the body bag like a magic trick, like I was saying, and then the look on his face is just like
Yeah.
it's so he played
Yeah.
that so well, and they all were like they put on the friggin' shit on their noses and stuff,
The vapor
'cause
rub.
the smell,
Yep.
and wrongful death,
Wrongful death. Yeah.
but the scene, and there's another subtle thing in that scene when they pull the cocoon out of her throat, you hear the air release out of her lungs.
Yeah.
That, and again, that was one of those things too. Like, I was young when I saw it. I didn't quite understand it. Mm-hmm. And then once I got it, I'm like, oh my God, that's a really horrible detail.
Yeah.
Knowing what the body can do now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, just one thing after another. This is a friggin' masterpiece of a movie. I
It
can
is.
watch it. It's a
There's
go-to
a
movie.
reason it won all the awards.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
go-to movie.
I mean, everybody in that movie deserved everything they got.
Hannibal Lecter murdered like an artist in that film when he murders the two cops. Mm-hmm.
that is one of the most beautifully shot scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well,
It is just the lighting,
Yeah.
the colors,
oh man.
everything.
I mean, the murder scene, yeah, but then when the cops come in there and see the one cop disemboweled,
and he's
he looks like an angel.
yep.
Oh, it was just. I mean, if there was
That's
ever
actually
any,
a Viking thing.
is it?
Yeah, they used to cut you open from the back and pull your lungs out. and
Well, it's
make
called
you look like an
it's
angel.
called Blood Eagle.
Blood Eagle.
Blood Eagle. Is that what he did to him? I thought he just disemboweled him.
No, he disemboweled him and pulled.
He did
his
the Blood
lungs out.
Eagle. That's what that's called. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that part. See,
If you look, you can see it.
you see his back ribs are pulled out.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like an angel. It was so majestic looking, and you're looking at a man who's just been torn
Butchered.
apart, been butchered, man.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible, dude.
Oh,
The entire scene when they're rolling him into the cell with the mask on.
Oh God.
I mean, literally,
Iconic.
that's like the first time you see the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
Oh, it
it
is.
is. It's
Yeah.
iconic.
It's
and now anytime you see that mask, it's instant recognition.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
so cool.
It is. You're right, Chris. I can think of fewer things that are that iconic in Hollywood and
the
film
Millennium
now.
Falcon, Indy's whip,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, Hannibal's mask,
Hannibal's mask.
Jason's mask.
I don't think we
you
can
know.
really
Right.
overstate how good this movie is and still. I mean, was and still is.
Oh, and it's still, that's one of the things that's
holds
so
up.
amazing. That it's still infinitely watchable.
Oh yeah, it holds up.
Oh, yeah.
There really isn't a lot in that movie that it just don't look dated to me.
No.
It looks
Well,
awesome.
and the other thing about this movie is like where a lot of horror movies they go overboard with the shit. Like everything that happens in the Silence of the Lambs,
Feels real.
It could happen. It's probably happened. It's
yeah.
based on actual things that have happened. That's
Loosely,
what's
but yeah.
loosely, but that's pretty amazing. And they can wind this amazing story in with these killers that you're never going to forget about.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that I don't know if I was the only one. Like, I always felt like I was when I was a kid, or when it came out. I guess I was kind of a kid.
You're still a kid.
That you're rooting for Hannibal at the end.
Yes.
Totally.
I'm gonna go see a friend for dinner.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm having a friend.
I'm
He's
having
in-
a friend for dinner. That's
He's a total anti-hero.
oh, he is.
Completely.
He
I mean,
is.
I'm rooting for Starling. And that was one thing I noted down here, and you said it earlier, Chris, too. Like, this is really kind of a coming of age movie too for Starling.
Oh, yeah.
She goes from being this
Rookie.
unsure person of herself, wondering if she even belongs here or not, to you watch her gradually grow her wings to the point where she goes to the director in that one scene and says, why did you point to me? There was that whole thing where he's like, I don't want to say this in front of the woman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I was just doing
I
that
don't
to get
think
rid
this
of
is
him. And
good
she's
for
like,
shared company or mixed
and
company.
and she's like, that wasn't cool. And he's
Yeah.
like, and I loved how
That was
was.
pretty early in the movie, too.
It was, but she said, he even said he's like point taken.
Yeah.
I loved how he was open to suggestion like that.
She
too.
wasn't a weak character.
No,
at
she
all.
wasn't. But she was still. You could tell there was just still.
There
these
was
things.
uncertainty.
At the end, she is a force.
Oh, yeah. Once
She's
she
a-
walks out of that house,
Yeah,
like,
I'm
even though you
fine.
can tell she's shook,
yeah.
that she's still a badass.
She's a force.
Like she's totally green at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then at the end, she is.
She's now caught her first serial killer.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, how many people can say that?
yeah. Before they graduate,
Right?
with the two bug guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, the two bug guys.
Great
the bug
scene.
guys are
great
so
scene.
great.
Are you hitting on me? It's so much
Yes.
fun.
How about an amusing cheap wine?
Yeah. He said, beer, the amusing cheap wine. So this leads us, and that's a great way I think we should go into Hannibal with, because
We should.
We see Julianne Moore.
The Epicurean.
Yeah, she's
We
playing.
discussed this a little bit last week, but
What's that?
Or
We
last
did.
show. Remember when I said this was
Last
one of my
week, this
favorite
is
movies?
One of Chris's
Hannibal?
movies.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
100%. But
Yeah, we all were.
I mentioned
Except
this.
for Michelle, who had never seen it.
Yeah.
I mentioned this force that Starling has become. Literally, I think she's become.
Oh, yeah. And then this movie
powerful person. Yeah,
just
it opens up with
nails it
Yeah.
home.
No, we have a different act. We have Julianne Moore, but
Mm-hmm.
I think she was brilliant in this movie because very early in the film, she establishes her dominance
Mm-hmm.
over everybody.
What I thought was cool, like, Jodie Foster brought a tenderness
Yeah,
to Starling. And Julianne Moore brought hardened...
this is 10 years later. They say in the story.
They say
it's
it's
10
10
years
years
like
later.
10 years later.
And she has the most kills of anybody in the FBI.
Yeah,
So now you have a hardened killer
yeah,
who investigates crimes
Yes.
by this point.
yeah,
And so I'm glad they shifted away from the Jodie Foster softness.
yeah.
Because Julianne Moore nailed that home.
God, did she?
Oh,
And she was, it's just that typical thing, like that beautiful woman.
yeah.
It's
Well,
good.
she has a tenderness to her. She has a natural beauty to her. She can carry herself in whatever movie she's in. I mean, she's done drama. She's done comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, Boogie Nights.
But,
Yeah.
I hate saying this, though, that the beauty part is such the least important part of
Oh,
it.
it
too.
is.
Not in
It
this
is.
film. Yeah, in this film, I agree. And Hannibal, it's there.
Yeah.
That part's established.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about that,
Yeah.
right? But what we have is this very mechanical, robotic. She has dedicated the last 10 years of her life to the FBI. She is seasoned. She's a veteran. She's killed. She's
Will
done
kill
everything.
again.
She's probably done more in her 10-year career than most guys or gals,
Right,
I should
right.
say. But I'll say guys, right? Because that's kind of the idea
Because
here.
it really was a movie about the boys' club.
Yeah, she's done more in 10 years than
Yeah.
a lot of people would probably have done in their whole career.
Yeah.
She is famous, but she's still faced with opposition. This is a very chauvinistic film in a lot of ways.
Well, it's anti-chauvinistic.
Well, yeah, but she's faced with chauvinism. Ray Liotta, who was fucking awesome in this movie, is a complete asshole. I
I
hate
think
his guts.
this was actually one of his last really good roles.
Yeah.
Great.
Because
Yeah.
he kind of doesn't do great things anymore.
I know. I don't know why. I just don't know if he they don't get offered.
I
to
hate him in this movie.
I think because
I
he
don't
got
hate
kind of.
him. I
Yeah,
hate
in
him.
a great way.
I hate him as that character.
I think he got, off Goodfellas, he ended up doing a lot of samey stuff. He got typecast too.
Yeah.
This movie was not really typecast, but he was still, as good as he is,
He was
as
still
much as you
playing
hate
Ray
him,
Liotta.
he's still Ray Liotta in this.
Yeah.
But he is fucking awesome, and he gets his just desserts, no pun intended.
We'll get there.
Are you
Yeah.
sure? Are you sure the
there.
pun's not intended? Because
Yes,
it
it
felt
is.
intended.
We get to see Hannibal Lecter. And the
Free.
thing I've always said about Hannibal, and I've had conversations about when you're comparing. At the time, it was just comparing, really Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm like, man, people are like, a lot of people.
A lot of
when
people
Hannibal
hate this movie.
They fucking hate it. And I'm like, dude, why do you hate this movie?
How can
Well,
you hate this movie?
It's not
Yeah.
a
It's a
freaking
fucking
bloodbath.
painting.
This movie is evolution,
This
is what it
movie's-
is.
it's real art,
we couldn't
man.
stay where we were
God.
with Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal Lecter is now in his playground. Free, able to do the things he wants to do, experience the arts and the music and the concerts and the food and everything he wants to do.
And
It's different. Like I said, it's evolution of the character.
at a museum.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you now. This is one thing I want to ask you guys, though. I don't know this. Now, this is 10 years later. Hannibal's been on the outside for 10 years. They haven't been able to find him, right? I wonder if he murdered in those 10 years.
I'm sure.
I'm sure he did.
Okay.
I'm sure. Like if you watch the movie, first of all, hasn't lost a step. So you
Yeah.
don't lose a step if you've been being a curator for 10
Little
years.
fucking finger thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And Man, you get that Mason Verger scene
Oh, dude.
when
Dude.
when he peels his own face off in chunks.
Dude.
Oh,
That's entertainment.
so amazing! It was.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's what he was singing.
Oh, that's right.
That's entertainment. It sounded like a good idea. It felt like a good idea at the time.
It sounded like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, that
You're like,
This movie has many more exploitation elements to it
Oh,
than
yeah.
the Silence of the Lambs did. They go way over the top with the violence.
Yeah.
But again, like
But-
I felt that was the only way they could go with it because we knew and we know that Hannibal existed in that world before Silence of the Lambs. So now when he's out and free, why do we think it's going to be less violent? Instead, it's going to evolve and change and things are going to get kind of
I
fucking
don't
nutty.
think it's more violent.
You don't
I
think
honestly
so?
don't. It's just as realistic violence as
It is.
as
It is.
Silence, and it's Hannibal killing like Hannibal would kill.
Right.
I mean, we talked about it last time. The DePazzi murder, when he kills the guy in the window.
Yeah.
The fact that there is literally an etching of the exact same kind of murder of the guy's ancestor presented earlier in the movie.
That's art.
Yes.
That it's not over the top violent. It's
Art imitating life.
yeah. I mean, that's a real etching.
Life
like
imitating
that
art?
really happened. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not craziness. It seems like something Hannibal would do.
This is what makes Hannibal so interesting to me, though, because we have this great between you guys right now saying, "Well, this is really, really violent," and I don't think this is really as you're saying it isn't as violent. I don't. I think it. Frankly, I think it's kind of a weird thing between the two because, yeah, there is some serious freaking weird stuff that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
But I think the mood of this film kind of makes that violence more subtle, intentionally. I think because honestly, Hannibal to me is a love story.
It is.
It's a love story,
It's
man.
absolutely a love
Okay.
story.
Yeah.
And you have all these, and you have all the beauty of Italy. You have these scenic shots.
Oh, yeah.
You have all this.
Notice that it's also the same city that he drew in his cell
in Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
Yeah. So you know Florence. Okay. So, you have all this beauty around you, and I think the beauty of the film, it's so cool looking. It makes you, dare I say, maybe forget about all the exploitation you're pointing out, Chris.
Yeah.
And it didn't hit me the same. And that's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, fucking Hannibal sucked. It wasn't nearly as crazy. I'm like, dude, you don't get it.
yeah. If you
don't
didn't
get
like
it,
it,
man.
you didn't get it.
Yeah, you don't get it
Because I mean, it is such a movie about love.
Yeah.
Like it starts off with Hannibal's love of freedom, and then reverts to Hannibal's love of Clarice.
Yeah.
And that story arc is so interesting, and it's so interesting to see Hannibal go from comfortable to hunter.
Yeah.
Like that transition in the movie is so jarring. Like the first half of it is a masterpiece, beautiful painting, and then it becomes
Then we get the Serbians involved. No, not
Yeah.
Serbians. Is it?
or
Serbians.
Croatians or whatever.
I think they're
pig
Croatians.
farmers.
Croatian pig farmers. Yeah.
Yeah, and holy crap! Like the more Mason Verger becomes part of the story, the more violent it gets.
Yeah, and really, yeah. If you and that goes back to the point. I can't think of anything more horrible than what Mason Verger was calculating
To do to Hannibal,
to do to Hannibal.
slowly lower
Yeah.
him and feed him to the
Yeah,
pigs.
yeah. So, but again, those really extreme ideas that's in Hannibal, they're there. They pulled it off in spades. But I think just the beauty of the film and the way it moves and the softness and the subtleness of it softens the blow of that violence and that gore.
And the violence happens to antagonists.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Like, even though Hannibal's a serial killer, he's still the protagonist. He and
absolutely.
Clarice are both the protagonists.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can excuse him. Like, he's killing DePazzi because DePazzi wants to put him in jail. He kills Mason Verger because Mason Verger's a douchebag.
Yeah.
And, you know.
With way too much money.
And, you know, DePazzi pissed me off because there's that scene with the money. It's and similar thing right there, too. He pulls the sheet off that money like they pulled the sheet off the body in Silence of the Lambs. Same idea.
Yeah.
Like just like a magician.
Look at this.
You know, and the guy says, he's like, okay, here's your down payment. The rest of the money comes when we get Lecter. All you gotta do is point him out, and we'll
pick
deal
him
with
up.
the rest, right? And he's like, no, well, I want to be involved. Make sure things go all right. And he's like, look, we're gonna have professionals see to that. I am a professional. Shut the fuck up and take the money, you asshole. You
Yeah.
don't have to-
it would've
it's
been so
free
easy.
money for God's sake.
It would have been so easy at that point.
What's
But
that?
It would have been so easy at that
I
point.
know, that's what I'm saying. And I've yelled
Yeah.
at the film a million times about that. I'm like, dude, all you gotta
Yep.
do, you pointed him out. All you gotta do, you don't need to be involved anymore. Get the hell out of the firing zone.
Oh,
You
he
read
was
up on
already-
this guy. You know
He
Yeah,
was
he's
but-
already
but-
firmly in it with the
Ego.
by having the
Well, I
guy
was gonna
chase him
say,
with the bracelet.
You have to understand that he is the
yeah.
same as Hannibal. He's the same as Verger. He's the same as Ray Liotta's
You're right.
character. They're all obsessed with this one thing. And DePazzi, what is that his name? Right?
Yeah.
DePazzi.
DePazzi, yeah, same thing.
He was involved.
He was obsessed with catching Hannibal and the money.
Well, it was a story about his wife too.
Right.
Yeah. He wanted to provide for his wife. He wanted to give her the best, and she was a beautiful lady. But you're right. There was that part I did neglect to mention or think about. DePazzi was involved with the bracelet thing. He already was on to
Hannibal
him.
knew it.
He already was on to him.
Oh yeah, he was fucked.
Yeah.
At that point, it didn't matter.
He should have got the hell out of the country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, take the money and run.
Yeah.
And Hannibal was onto him before that.
Oh yeah, because he knew he was being watched. He
At
knew
the
somebody
opera
was tracking.
earlier in the movie
Yeah.
when Hannibal is like, "I was thinking of you, and so I found this,"
Yeah.
and brings the sheet music for his wife, and it's like, oh shit.
Another great
You're
scene. Well, yeah, and that answers my question about whether Hannibal killed because he became the curator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the curator mysteriously disappeared.
Now, and there's that great scene with DePazzi and Hannibal where he's staying at, and he's like, he had the bags to pick up.
Yep.
Of the previous curator, and that's, man, you talk about tension. Like, and Hannibal smoked in that. That's one thing I know. He was smoking cigarillos.
Yep.
Which I never saw. And it was one thing I didn't expect to see out of Hannibal because I was like, well, this is a very articulate person with very sensitive. His senses are really in tune, and I thought that was interesting.
Is smoking actual Turkish cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's
Was
a
it-
huge difference between
Yeah.
those and the crap we
So,
smoke.
but there's that scene is really cool because you see the tension really rise up, and that's what I was saying about Hannibal.
You see Hannibal just watching him.
Well, yeah, but you see this great.
Oh.
I mentioned about Hannibal before too. Is like every once in a while he'll throw in this great little line, and there's one with the bags, and he's like, they're looking at each other, and the lighting is perfect on Hannibal's face. Like he looks like he looks like the serial killer Hannibal, the cannibal, and he
Where you
looks at
can-
him. He looks at him, and he's like, "Okie dokie,
Yeah.
let's grab these
Okey-dokey.
let's grab these bags. Oh, these bags are heavy as bodies. It's this hilarious little comic relief you had where you thought for sure DePazzi was going to get greased right there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I thought he was
that
dead.
was the end of it.
I thought it was the end of him right there.
And they knew it. They knew the filmmakers knew that that's what we were thinking.
Yeah, totally.
And they're like, no. We're
Let's
gonna
lead
draw
you on a little bit longer.
Let's draw this out.
Oh,
and
yeah,
really
yeah.
fuck with you.
So yeah, this is a love story. It's proven to be a love story at the end.
Oh yeah. So
Man, that blew my mind.
did Hannibal live or die?
What's that?
Did Hannibal live or die?
Oh, he
they
lived.
They don't answer the question at
He
the end of
lived.
the movie.
He lived.
I think he lived.
He
Yeah,
lived.
so do I.
He's still around.
Yeah.
He went back to Italy, killed somebody else off, and is doing their job now.
Or England or France.
Yeah.
Anywhere where his skills could be of use.
Yeah. I think for sure he lived on.
Actually, I'm willing to bet France since that's where he grew up.
Yeah.
With one hand.
Yep.
That's that was the ultimate sacrifice.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Totally
That's what I
forgot
said.
about that.
The ending, man, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
The way they shot that, where you see Starling start to yell, and it's like, man, and then you see him on the plane.
You hear the thunk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Clarice
It's really gonna hurt. It's really gonna hurt.
Yep.
You know.
This
The-
really will hurt. Clarence.
That the brain scene too.
Oh, at the end,
Oh yeah.
as my mother told me.
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Oh well, yeah.
I mean, that's horrifying.
Okay, the other
Oh,
brain.
no,
That's
we
the
know he
brain.
lived. We know he lived because he's on the plane with the
That's what
little
I'm saying.
kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
he lived. Yeah, he was on the
I
plane.
forgot about
You're
that.
talking about the brain scene, the very, with Leota, with Ray Liotta. That's where.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
ultimate.
yeah. The kid scene too.
The kid scene at the end was very disturbing.
Oh no. You
But
didn't
the
like
dinner
that.
scene, yeah, when you got Leota stoned out of his gourd,
Yeah. Corn pone. Corn pone.
And
Washington's
you know
full
what's
of
coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you got
Kinda.
Starling stoned out of her mind now too.
Kinda knew what was coming, but you didn't.
No, I knew what was coming
The
because
cat.
I knew of it from the book.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
With a
So-
baseball
that
cap on
by
his
the way,
head.
is why the movie took so long to come out.
Yes.
Is that they had to wait for Thomas Harris to write the damn thing.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
they did the book first and then the sequel,
Yep.
Yeah.
which doesn't happen a lot of times now.
No, he was insistent. He's like, you can't do this until my book comes out.
Yeah.
The clock. He goes out and buys all that really, really high end cookware. And the clock. I mean, he had to have all this stuff there for the meal.
Yep.
He had to
Wanted
have
it perfect.
all this. It had to be perfect.
Yeah.
Even to the clock.
Yeah.
Had to be there for him. And I love my favorite line of that scene is at the very end where he's like, all right, well, we're all done. I'll go make the coffee. This guy is so fucking nuts, man.
No,
Yep.
he's not.
Yes, he is. He's crazy. He's
not
insane.
nuts. He's not nuts.
Why?
He's a product of his environment. That's just. I don't think he's actually nuts. I think he is possibly the sanest person in every room.
Well, okay. You know what? Let's take that to Hannibal Rising thing because I know we're running kind of short on time.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Well, we started a little late, so
Yeah. We got 10 minutes.
I only watched Hannibal Rising one time myself.
okay.
I don't know how many times you guys saw it or not, but
About 15.
really,
I've
Oh,
seen
yeah,
it,
love
I think,
it. I love
twice.
it.
I haven't seen this one. I meant to watch it this weekend, but I just never had a chance.
I love it.
it's a prequel,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yes.
The young man who plays him is so spectacular.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he's a nice. This is a person with a lot of promise, with a bright future in front of him, a brilliant young man. And I'm
about
not going
to be a
to
doctor.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I remember all the details. It's been a while since I saw the movie. I couldn't get to it this weekend either. But we see
It's the most brutal out of all of them.
it really is. Holy shit!
Like,
You're right.
Like by
And
far,
very full on. Like not nearly as artistic as Hannibal. Artistic though.
It's not pretty like Hannibal.
Yeah, yeah.
It tells the story it needs to tell, and you get the I can't remember what country they were in. Hungarian.
Hungry?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
I think it was in Hungary. You get these Soviet, or they were Hungarian gypsy soldiers that are just trying to be as cool as the Nazis. And once the Nazis fall, all of a sudden they're homeless. They have no power. They have nothing, and capture him and his daughter. Or him and his sister,
Him and
little
his sister.
Yeah.
Him and his little sister, and proceed to torture them as they all starve. And then later on, you find out that Hannibal and them ate little sister,
Yeah.
Yes.
and what that did to them. And
Well, it's like any kind of abuse. It shapes your.
yeah, but that's
Or your worldview.
But
Yeah.
that's an extreme. Like literally,
Oh, yeah.
as a little kid, he ate his sister.
Yeah. So is this a story we really needed, though?
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Well,
it took humanizing him to the next level,
Yeah, yeah.
where no longer is he the villain. He's not a villain.
He was not. Well, it goes right back to Red Dragon, like I said before. This guy was not born a monster. He was made a monster.
Yep.
I think that in the reality of things, I think a lot of serial killers or people who are driven to do extreme things, I think they're forced into that situation.
Products of their
Yeah,
environment.
they're products of their environment. I don't think anybody comes out of the womb going, "I'm gonna kill every motherfucker on the planet." No, that's impossible.
Actually, yeah, quite a few of them are.
Who? What?
Ted Bundy.
Do you think?
Fairly normal childhood, fairly normal life.
But something had to have triggered him.
Porn was his excuse.
Okay, fine.
But it wasn't that at all. He was a complete sociopath. He didn't have.
So something had to have.
There was something chemically wrong
so there was
with
a
him.
chemical.
It's a birth
fine.
defect.
Okay, fine. All right, fine. Point taken. Fucking move on.
But in the case of Hannibal,
That's cool. No, you're right. You're 100% right.
in the case of Hannibal, there was a series of events that shaped him to become the eventual.
That's why I say he's not crazy. Is that it's not lunacy. It's not anything other than this has been ingrained in him.
Yeah.
By his stepmom, by eating his little sister, that vengeance, not tolerating the rude, all of that has been handed down to him.
Well, and then you mix all of that with being hyper intelligent and smarter than everybody else around you.
Yep.
You can see where it could lead that way in a fictional world.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was what I thought was amazing about the movie, is that you see that he's a monster. He's absolutely a monster, but he's not nuts.
Right.
He's just a guy that, for him, this is what's right.
Now, in this movie, though, aren't we led to believe that he's French?
No.
Because the guy that plays him has a very heavy French accent.
Yes.
Which
that
is
he
the one
tried
thing.
to hide very hard.
Yeah.
No, he's Hungarian.
Okay.
The name the palace in the beginning of the movie is his family's house.
Okay.
Mom and dad are murdered by the Nazis, all that kind of stuff. And so, no, he's Hungarian, but by the time he's 8, 9, he's moved to France into an orphanage, and then makes his way towards
where he eats all the orphans.
Nobody does kill one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, he does kill one, and then moves in with his stepmom or his aunt, and she's Asian and very much believes in the samurai culture.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get interesting. Yeah.
So you get the samurai culture plus the cannibalism and hatred. Throw all that into a pot, and you
Perfect
end
storm.
up with the guy who kills the free-range root.
Yeah. No, and it all made, and watching that, it all made sense, and yeah, you asked a really good question, Chris. Like, did this have to be made? You know what? If it never get, I say this all the time. I always take the middle road on this. If it didn't get made, I probably wouldn't think anything about it. However, it was made, so it's interesting to know maybe what the genesis was of this probably the most, to me, one of the most prolific characters in all of movie history.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
Oh yeah.
Hannibal
they
Lecter,
could put out a Hannibal movie now.
Yeah, and we'd all.
And I would flock.
Hannibal
Lecter
Lecter is one of the most interesting.
Oh, fascinating.
I just how I'd love to get you on my couch. I'd love to talk. It's something I'd really like to know who the hell they are.
I think he's too old to do it now, though, isn't he?
No.
I wonder what they would do with the character now.
Well, they'd have to make sure his hand's gone because he fucking lost his hand.
What's interesting is that we were talking about his stillness and almost robot-like in Silence.
Yeah.
We found out why about a year and a half ago. And Anthony Hopkins didn't know it then either. It turns out he has Asperger's.
Anthony Hopkins?
Anthony Hopkins has Asperger's.
Really?
And that is what influences his posture and the way he moves and all that. And so, yeah.
So neat, so articulate. The hair.
Yeah.
Everything about this character.
But yeah, no, he came out saying it a couple weeks ago.
Shit.
Oh, we do have one other news story, and it's a little bit more sad. Alan Alda came out today
with Parkinson's
and saying that he has been suffering from Parkinson's for 3 years.
Oh my God!
So yeah, I mean, a legend especially for those of us our age.
Oh yeah,
I mean, who didn't grow up on MASH?
Yeah. That's a
So,
bummer.
yeah, that one was a gut punch.
Yeah.
Well,
way to roll us out there.
yeah,
You're welcome,
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
I'm so hungry
No,
now.
I totally tip my hat. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, the Hannibal Lecter, and I know there was, Hannibal Lecter is Anthony Hopkins to me.
Oh, yeah.
That's his character.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
And that while he wasn't, and I think we all agree, he wasn't. Silence of the Lambs, he wasn't a main character in the film.
No, he didn't need to be.
And I don't think he was really in Hannibal. He wasn't in every damn scene.
No.
Red Dragon, same thing. Very, very subtle in Red Dragon.
Yeah, it's
right?
all kind of done the same
But
way with each movie.
The
in a
weight
way.
of that character and that persona.
Again, he's the driving force.
I can't
of all of
overstate
them.
it. It's one of my all-time.
Use him at
favorite
bare
characters.
minimum when you need him for dynamic effect.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of what everybody still does with him.
Yeah.
With Anthony Hopkins in general. I mean, look at Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still the driving force, and he's still, every time he's on screen, he's the most.
Yeah. That's what I was
Perfect
talking
one.
about earlier. I messed that up. I was watching a documentary on the making of Hannibal, and when they screened it for all the suits in a theater, they were filming the screening like, from the side of just like the crowd, and that scene that you hear the first thing with "Hello, Clarice," and that whole place just like, whoa, holy shit, he's back!
Yep.
It's Hannibal, man.
The minute
He's
you
the
hear
dude.
that, when he calls her, that scene,
Oh god,
when he calls her
Yeah.
the first time,
in the phone.
hello, Clarice. You're
3
like,
films,
oh.
man. 3 films.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And he's still Hannibal the
That
fucking
good.
Lecter.
4. I'm sorry. Technically 4 films, but 3 films with Anthony
Well,
Hopkins.
technically 5.
Technically 5. Yeah.
5 Hannibal movies, but 3
Awesome.
with Anthony Hopkins, and they're fucking legendary.
Legendary, man. You can't touch that dude. He
No.
just the
No.
man. Awesome.
All right. With that, I got to go eat some flesh. The nice Chianti.
Good night, everyone.
Visit us at www.themoviesleuth.com and find The Movie Sleuth on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and iTunes.